Well, good evening, folks. Welcome back to the farm. Just grabbing a hammer here. We're gonna run down. I can find one. Here we are. We're gonna run down to the field, stretch a bit of fence so that we can open up some gates and let cows have access to everything, anything, and all of it. Because we're at that point in time in the year where everything's tired. There's just not enough grass in one spot. You need to have freedom of movement. So the rotation program generally this time of year starts to wane off, but the way grass burnt off and we can get no rain, anything at all, we're just gonna have to turn everybody loose and then they can just hunt for any little morsel of green they can get. Switch out my spool of barbed wire here. I used it all the other day. It's my handy dandy little barbed wire deployment package that I got mounted right on the side of the side-by-side. Works pretty handy. We were at an auction sale one time and we bought, I think, 9, 10, 11 of these spools of barbed wire. And at that point in time, I don't even think we owned this place. I don't even think we had a plan to build a fence. But that's how much we got of it left. Quite a bit still. I'm just gonna grab some of these odd end lengths. Obviously sat outside the top bar, popped off of there, but I'm just gonna use some of this up for, just like I said, I'm just throwing two pieces of fence together. Nothing permanent. I wouldn't even call it temporary. More of an emergency fence, really. And knowing full well that I intend to pull it down and actually put a whole new barbed wire fence in there next spring on one side, and on the opposite side of the post, it's all gonna be page wire. Really good example of how much grass is out in any of these fields. This little pony here is on a really strict diet because she'll get founder, and so you pretty much have to really control how much she eats. And they've been basically, her and the little donkey have been out here unattended. Eat as much as you want, full smorgasbord. Hasn't put on any poundage. Walking like a champ. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're turning the cows loose in a billiard table on this one. And that's fine, because this is just one of the fields, but they're going to have access to that one. That's actually where they come out of last before they moved over to the southeast. And then we'll give them access to this northwest quarter as well. And they'll have everything except for that center run down there where the sheep are in the bush. Might have jumped the gun here a little bit. As you can see, there's a whole pile of cows over there. What I did is I kicked the gate open because I figured, well, if I got to run some wire along this fence line right where I'm at, you know, what's the harm in opening the gate and letting them through while I'm in here working? Like, they're not going to come and bother the fence while I'm in here working. But what this does mean is that I'm out of options. I have to fix this fence, or, well, get this fence to a point where they can't get through it with that much daylight. Otherwise, I'm turning the side-by-side around and we're working under the headlights. And when I ran back up to the house to take Charlotte to bed, I think I must have left my gloves in the house. So now I got to do this barehanded, which I'm super keen on because, you know, I got hands of steel. Oh well, I'll deal with it. Well, I got 2 strands up. And that's not enough. I need to get at least 3 to stop the calves from going underneath and messing with that electric fence. And to think that, is there going to be enough shock there to deter the calves? Yeah, like once they get hit. But you can imagine if they just rub on it or lean on it or, you know, hit it with the top of their head, by the time it zaps them, are they going to come back through the barbed wire fence, or are they going to go through the electric fence? So I just, you know, you can't have any shenanigans in the tiny little gap in between the 2 fence lines. They got to stay on this side. It's just going to have to happen. But this little bell went off on my phone here a minute ago, and it goes off every day at this time, 9 o'clock. Goes off and says, if you want to get up and have 8 hours of sleep, you should really go to bed right now. And I don't think in the last, however long I've had that reminder, at least probably 3 or 4 years, I don't think there's one time I've ever crawled into bed before that thing went bing, bing, bing. In fact, I don't think there's one time I've ever crawled into bed within 2 hours of that thing going bing, bing, bing. But anyways, almost 2 down, 1 more for sure to go. I'm not going to run a 4th wire tonight because I think that's probably unnecessary. But as you can see, there is some grass in the alleyway, so they can munch that down tonight. And the reason they haven't been in here to munch this down is because this fence line was always just, well, the guys that lived here before us were using poplar trees as fence posts. And so you had to cut it out. Like the wire was grown into the trees, and it went and it wrapped all the way around over there and then kind of went to nowhere. So we were driving the quad or the side-by-side in and out through there, but we never had a gate or nothing there. So here's where I'm going to build a brace there. There's already a brace there. I just put a 12-foot gate in here eventually is the big plan anyways. Well, that's it, wire strung, 3 wires strung. I still got to pound some staples, but there's just not quite enough light left. So I'm going to turn the old girl around and flick on the, I say the high beams, but it's got some pretty pathetic lights on this thing. The last side-by-side we had, it was a Ranger 570, same year, same everything, but it was just a single cab. It didn't have the back seat, and I had a big giant 2-foot light bar on the front, and you could shine that thing off the moon. And I should have pulled it off before I sold it, but I didn't. And so now we've never put one back on here, but I think that's going to be one of my winter projects, because it's getting to that time of year where it's still, like, it's, the 5th of September, it's still nice out. Like, I'm still in a t-shirt. Still probably 25 degrees out right now. But I just don't have the daylight, right? So that becomes a big limiting factor. So get some outdoor lighting going on. And I got a splinter in my finger. It's tough to see there, but up under the cuticle between the fingernail and whatever this nail bed is, half the size of a fence post jammed in there, and it bled like a stuck pig for a while. It's finally quit bleeding there now, but I'm thinking I'm gonna have a throbbing finger by morning. I'll be really wishing I had that pair of gloves. Okay, now we're done. Look at that. Whoa, what a beauty. No cows getting through that today. Maybe tomorrow, not today. It might be time for a cup of tea, I think. Today's lesson was a good one, actually. Like, if you got stuff to do, but you also fear your own procrastination as being a barrier to actually getting that thing done, just open the gate. Let the cows out, and it will force your hand, and you will do amazing things in very short order. But on that note, it is time for a cup of tea. Maybe a biscuit. Custard cream, I think, so I'm going to have tonight. Maybe wash my face. I got some schmegma on there. But anyways, I'm going to let you go for now. Hope you're having a fantastic evening. We'll see you tomorrow.